What's up, sports bettors? I got 5 player props that are going to make us rich. 250 to 5 grand. There's no reason we can't win these 5 prop bets. I got 3 NFL plays, 2 MLB plays for tonight, so we're going to go through it. Yesterday on the live stream, we went 3 for 4 on this PrizePicks power play, 100 to win 1,000, but that lost. But we got some good feelers out there. Lamar Jackson under 1.5 passing TDs. That will win our 500 to 3K entry. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. 5 player props on Underdog Fantasy. So again, really the purpose of the OddsJam YouTube, and you can always feel free to reach out to us with questions, comment questions below, but it's really just to use data, right, and kind of explain to you how you can actually make money off of these platforms, right? How can you make money off PrizePicks, off Underdog Fantasy? The goal is to help make you a better sports bettor, right? A better DFS player, whatever you want to become. Because, these platforms aren't particularly intuitive, right? Like on PrizePicks, for example, if you were to play a 5-pick power play, you would be betting 20 to win 200, which makes no sense because if you go to Underdog Fantasy, and if you were to play a 5-pick power play, so if we just selected 5 picks, you'd be playing 20 to win 400. So as a sports bettor, you need to be conscious of these things. Because if you're betting 20 to win, 200 on PrizePicks in a 5-pick power play, as opposed to playing on Underdog where you're getting double the payout, you're screwed. You're getting ripped off, right? So the goal of the OddsJam YouTube is to really help you use data to kind of see how these sportsbooks are pricing things, where you can find value, stuff like that. And it's completely free to browse odds on OddsJam. Player props, everything you want to look at, right? You want to bet on some player hits. On Underdog Fantasy, we got that, right? So you can just take a look at the odds and make sure you're not getting ripped off, right? So like as a great example, Odor, we definitely don't want to take him to get a hit tonight, right? Sportsbooks are giving us minus 109, minus 110, minus 115 with the juice on Underdog in a 2-pick entry. We've gone through this math a ton of times, so I don't want to dwell on it. But you can essentially, we have a bunch of videos, strategy videos you can watch. I'll put them in the end screen. But essentially is on Underdog Fantasy, when you're playing a 2-pick entry, you're getting the implied odds of minus 137. Same thing on PrizePicks. So it's actually advantageous to play 3-pick or 5-pick entries on Underdog Fantasy, right? You'll notice none of the plays I end up going with, like this play, we're only doing 3 picks and 5 picks. Okay, so what we're going to be going through in this video is a 5-pick entry where we're betting 250 to win 5K. And what's really crazy about this play is if you were to play it on DraftKings, this would be 250 to win 3.1K. Our payout is going to be 5K if we win. So 2 grand higher, 3K versus 5K, basically, right? So significantly higher. And that's kind of, how you make money sports betting. You find value, right? You find bets that are mispriced where you're getting value to the rest of the market, right? What's so fascinating about sports betting and these fantasy companies is they're all trying to price these same assets, independently. Like Trevino to get a hit. Minus 192, minus 218, minus 170. It's the same bet, right? So obviously you always want to go with the book that's offering you the highest payout. And although these differences may not seem big, if you want to be profitable on Underdog in the long run or on PrizePicks, you got to be finding value. So you can browse odds for free on OddsJam, look for these discrepancies, stuff like that. And you can also use the positive EV tool, which essentially just scans the market, millions of odds updating in real time to say, hey, here are the lines that look pretty good, right? So the first play we can take a look at is Jordan Lyles under 5.5 hits allowed on PrizePicks, right? So all the sports books have this under heavily juiced. So that gives us pretty strong confidence that hey, the under is a lot more likely to hit than the over because the sports books have it heavily juiced. So you can kind of quantify that with a no-vig fair odds calculator. In this sportsbook, Pinnacle, they're known to be one of the sharpest bookmakers, most efficient betting markets. They take the highest amount of bets, right? So what you can do is kind of use their market to get a sense of what do I think the odds should be with no vig, right? You always have to remove the VIG from the sportsbook's market to get a sense of what does the sportsbook believe this actually should be priced at. So you can see Pinnacle, the true odds or the no VIG odds would be minus 134, right? We're getting minus 119 in a PrizePicks 5 flex. So that seems decent. But let's go to Underdog, right? We know on Underdog, just based on the math, we've gone through it tons of times. You can watch the other videos. We try to be very straightforward when we're explaining how these platforms work, how the math works, kind of like, when I was a quant on Wall Street and I started betting on sports, I thought it was very confusing because none of these companies have the incentive, right, to explain to you how they're making money, how they're charging you. If it's more advantageous to play a 3-pick or a 2-pick, why would Underdog Fantasy tell you that? They have no incentive, right? So nobody really does, which is why, kind of the purpose of OddsJam, to help explain to you these things. And you definitely want to be going with a 3-pick or a 5-pick on Underdog. So the first pick I went with is Thielen under 4.5 receptions, right? So every sportsbook has this as a heavy underdog, right? Or heavy favorite. I apologize. They have the over as a heavy underdog, right? Pinnacle is pricing this at minus 165. They have the over at plus 123. They're giving you the over at plus 123. And you got to lay $163 on the under on the sharpest sports book to even win back 100. So the true line with the VIG removed would be minus 138, right? So what you can see is all of our plays on Underdog, all these positive EV plays with a mathematical profit margin, doesn't mean they're guaranteed to win, but they have an edge, right? And having an edge is what matters long term, right? That's how you win in the long run. So, you'll even notice on our, do I have it open? On our sheet, we're down $1,300 on live streams. I still got to finish grading that. We're up 15.4K just on the YouTube sports bets I've given out, so not fantasy plays, but it's streaky. We go down 4 bets, you win, but I know in the long run, because I have an edge, I'm going to make money. So it's really just a volume game and not being a baby and being able to withstand some ups and downs, right? There will be some bumps along the road, but we know, the road is leading us to money. So this is the first play I went with. Unders heavily juiced, right? What's different about OddsJam is I'm not focusing here on the sports. I don't care, right? I know there are millions of dollars being bet on the Vikings Saints game. These bookmakers are very smart. There's very smart people betting, right? It's a fair market. Actions coming in, bookmakers are moving around lines. It's a fair, efficient betting market, kind of just like the stock market. So the easiest way to make money sports betting is you kind of just look at the odds side by side and you're we definitely want to go with Thielen under 4.5 receptions. It's just rational, right? When all the bookmakers have the under heavily juiced and they're saying the no VIG line should be minus 133, minus 135, whatever, and you can get it minus 122 on Underdog, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sports books telling you, that under's really good bet with the mathematical edge, you should hit it. So I hit it. So that's play number 1. Play number 2, we already showed it in this entry, which is right here. Let me reload this bad boy, Underdog Fantasy. So if we reload this bad boy, we already have Lamar under 1.5, but I played it again, right? And we've had this play a couple times. It hasn't, it didn't work out for us last weekend, but regardless, clear value, right? Bet online, all the sports books have it heavily juiced. So that's play number 3. So we got some options out there. Next, we got Davis Martin, under 15.5 outs. Whit Merrifield to record a hit. So this is our first over, right? We're on Thielen under 4.5 receptions. Lamar under 1.5 touchdowns. Whit over half of a hit, right? And what you'll notice is right, following data, logic, math, these strategies, they apply to any sport. It's not some whack system that's if the team's on the road 3 games in a row, some BS like that. This is just rational math, sports betting, looking for value, looking for an edge, right? And OddsJam has a ton of tools just based in data. No BS, nothing about coaches after they've been on the road 3 games. No BS, right? Just math, data, and kind of using every sportsbook as an independent data point of where the line should be set as you look for value. So you can watch our strategy videos to kind of learn How do I back out my profit margin, right? How do I find my edge, my EV? You can do all that. We have a ton of videos you can watch on the YouTube that'll make you a much better sports bettor, right? I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars sports betting. It's all about data, being able to withstand variance, because data, it's just like you can quantify everything. It's not finger to the wind. So we have wit to record a hit, and then you got some options. But the play I actually ended up going with, because this wasn't available at the time, is Russell Wilson. Under 1.5 passing TDs. I do like that play. Minus 122, we're getting it on underdog. So again, this is coming out to, keeps getting hammered down. $250 to win $3,000 on DraftKings. We're getting it. $250 to win $5K. Let's get rich together, guys. Lamar could be the best bet of all time, arguably. That would win me $3K, plus it would be a cash number 1. But we got 2 MLB plays we need tonight, so let's make some money.